What's up, Dice Crew? Keeping it a Benji, and I'm getting back with y'all. Now we got Trap Lord Ross speaking about King Von, which is nothing new. You know, some would say he pretty much has a obsession with King Von. However, this is the first time he's over there at Vlad discussing the matter. So I definitely want to see what Vlad had to say about it and see if they agree or disagree. You know, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation. So let's tune into that and see what they got to say. I'm gonna keep it a Benji for y'all doing my reaction. Y'all keep it a Benji for me in the comments. Shout out to the Dice Crew and shout out to the sponsors. Y'all are down bullies. I'm gonna have a link in the description so y'all can tune in and see what they got going on. Go over there and check y'all out. An exotic bully or an exotic Frenchie. Let's rock.
When you decided to do this main King Von documentary, you called it Rap's First Serial Killer.
I did.
You knew that was going to cause problems.
So here's the thing. That wasn't the plan from the start, right? So let me take you back. So I did those videos about Von. He nearly packed my channel. After that, I was shook. I took out the KI stuff. He let me slide. And then I was like, I'm never talking about this dude again. Because I was scared. Like, you know, his A&R was threatening me. Von seemingly had killed people. I was like, I ain't talking about this guy again. Let me go back to doing
I don't think he's going to fly to England to kill you, though. Like,
Man, I'm glad that Vlad chimed in and called Trap Lord Ross on his antics, you know, because you know, he played a whole like very scared and very like, you know, he played that game to try to like put more of a paint on the picture pertaining to King Von reputation of being an alleged killer. You know what I'm saying? So when he played that game, like he just really worried and you know he thinks somebody's gonna do something to him. You just said that they like was getting at your channel. So that mean they was pretty much getting at you in a business form. And I like what Vlad just said. You know, I don't know how far anybody will go to actually try to hurt somebody, but I do like what Vlad said about like I doubt that they will go to England and try to do something to you. You know what I'm saying? And I really believe that Trap Lord Ross believed that he would never be in an environment that would have him somewhere surrounding any individual that pretty much have real care for Von. You know what I mean? Or anybody in Von's crew at that.
I'm never talking about this dude again. Because I was scared. Like, you know, his A&R was threatening me. Von seemingly had killed people. I was like, I ain't talking about this guy again. Let me go back to doing
I don't think he's going to fly to England to kill you, though. Like, were you actually worried about that?
You know what it is? It's just like, I've explained this before. You probably have the same thing. Like, you know, 95% of the time, your safety, like, it's probably not really an issue. But it's just that 1% of the time. What if I want to go to Chicago? What if I want to go to America? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I think you called me. I think you were like, hey, I'm going to go to LA. Should I have security? I'm like, yeah, if you hang out in the projects in South Central, but if you're walking down Rodeo Drive, you're not going to need security. Was that right?
Yeah, you're right. But you know what it is? Like, this is the thing is like, I feel like with the content we make, I feel like most people fuck with it. Yeah, you're going to have a bunch of haters, but I'm less scared of like a gangster pulling up on me and shooting me. I'm more scared of like a crazy person that hates what I do and thinks that I'm a culture vulture and they're just crazy and they got a gun and they could do some crazy shit. Like, I'm worried about that more than I'm worried about King Von pulling up on me.
And you know, I got a little bit of I got agreements with that, right? Because you do got some crazy people out here that will like just totally throw their whole life away for a viral moment or won't even know what they actually are doing. They just do it, you know what I mean? And you know, I understand what Trap Lord Ross is saying right there.
But anyway, setting that aside, going back to what you were saying, I was basically said I'm gonna leave Von alone. And then November the 4th, 2020, I was doing an interview with another rapper in the UK. See on the news, Von lost his life. Was November the 4th or no, it's November the 6th. I see the news that Von lost his life, and I don't know, something about that, man. It really shook me up. Like the moment I saw that news, it really affected me because in spite of what had happened, I was a huge fan of Von's music. I would still listen to Von's music all the time. And seeing after he died, and then slowly learning about this situation that he'd got in, the young boy, the Quando situation, what happened with Lil Tim, it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? He's gone. I'm gonna do the full story. I'm gonna break down his whole life because unfortunately his life's over now, and I'm gonna really drill deep and find out really what was going on. And my whole point of approaching that story, I didn't say, let me do a video called Rap's First Serial Killer that's going to go viral.
And you know, that's one thing that I just kind of don't respect about Trap Lord Ross. And I think I have said it before, but it's like if you're gonna do something or say something about somebody, put it out there why they got the reason why they got why they're able to defend it or speak their side of it. You know, when you wait to a person that's missing or not missing but no longer here and they can't defend themselves or tell their side of things, you know, that's kind of like dirty work. You know what I'm saying? You should have put it out there, especially if you feel like people are not agreeing with it. You know what I mean? So you don't even want to do it while they're alive because you know they don't agree with it. So for you to do something that somebody disagree with when they lose, when they're not alive no more, it do speak a lot about your character.
Goal with that story was I want to answer the question once and for all: did Von really have all these bodies? Because he's the one who said in songs, "I got talk about bodies. I got a few. 4+3, 3+2. Let's talk about bodies. I got several. You ain't a killer if you only got two bodies."
And you know, I just always feel like once you start saying that you got to take a person's word for it, that means you got to take everything they say. You got to take it for what it is from what they said, you know? And if we also going to say that, we got to say, oh, this is true. We can't give him no type of, oh, he's entertaining. We can't say he's being an artist. We can't say he's a rapper. We can't say none of these things, right? So that means, like, you know, why does Trap Lord Ross not cover 100 people? Cause us 100 rappers out here that's doing the, you know, what they call nowadays the self snitching and all that type stuff. Why he doesn't like, you know, chime in on those type of things and break down those bars and those lyrics, you know? I think it's because it might not have a lot of clout that come with it. You know what I'm saying?
Von's got lyric after lyric talking about how many bodies he's got. So my goal for the project was say, let's find out once and for all, true or false, does Von really have bodies? And once I started looking, and I'm like, damn, it's looking like he's got all these bodies. This matches up, this tweet, that news article, this police report. It all started adding up, and it.
And mind you, you know, I also got to put out there that Von was never convicted of any of these crimes. And Trap Lord Ross is smarter than, you know, the prosecution. He's smarter than the police. And I'm not saying that everybody in jail is guilty. People in jail is innocent. And I'm not saying everybody who's not in jail is innocent. Some people are guilty. You know, that's just how life works. But I just feel like how can you get to the bottom of something if you really don't have the knowledge from a person who was there personally? You know what I'm saying? If you really don't have those facts, like if the person don't tell you out of their own mouth or somebody who was, let's just say, you know, sliding with Vine, then how can you get to like the real truth of it?
All changed when I googled. I was like, let me just look up like the FBI's definition of what a serial killer is. And I looked that up. It said a serial killer is somebody that kills, I think it was three or more people in different locations with a month, potentially like more than a month between the murders, and like patterns of behavior or people getting personal gratifications of the killing. And it kind of dawned on me at a certain point. I was like, I think this guy was a serial killer. I think he matches the description.
And you know, I want to point it out that he, you know, for him to say that he's a fan of King Von, why he won't even throw him any type of lifeline and just say, you know, maybe he was a troll. Because if you really look at it, it's a lot of trolls that come off like a serial killer too. If you listen to what they say, how they carry themselves, what they do, I mean, you know, they play these type of games and stuff because some people believe the hype and some people just tune in even to disrespect people who act like that. But I just feel like, you know, why you don't even try to give any room, you know, and, you know, opening up a conversation about what could it be? Could it be really the serial killer thing or could it be just trolling? That's how I feel about it. We don't know. And I'm not saying this to disrespect King Von or anybody else, but I just always feel like we gotta respect people at times. And what a person call themselves, hey, let them call themselves that. You know, I'm not gonna chime in on it and say what it is about this and this and that. If King Von got on there and said, "Hey, I'm the best rapper alive," would Trap Lord Ross be saying, "Yeah, that's a fact. He's the best rapper alive because he said it." You know what I'm saying?
And I thought that was a really interesting conversation. and that's when the title of the video came about. But honestly, I think a lot of people think it was like some Machiavellian's the right term, but just some like I was trying to go super viral. But I was just doing the research, trying to prove or disprove what Von had said in his own lyrics, and it just dawned on me at a certain point that like I think this guy ticks the boxes for a serial killer, and the rest is history, I guess.
Right, but you knew once you put that word serial killer in the title, you could have it sprinkled in through the, the audio, whatever, but you titled it King Von, rap's first serial killer. Now, there's been other people that have killed people in hip hop. Gucci, although that story's a little convoluted, but, people have caught bodies, some of which don't talk about it, some of which went to jail for it. But a serial killer, you're kind of putting an extra layer on top of it.
Well,
because
And again, shout out to Vlad. I could be wrong, but when it comes to the age bracket between Trap Lord Ross and Vlad, I'm sure it's probably about at least 20 years apart, something like that. And Vlad always have had his own mind about certain things, whether you agree with it or disagree. And he never really hold his tongue. So I also give him his flowers about that.
being a killer has some level of respect depending on who you talk to, but a serial killer is generally, not respected in society. No one wants to be a serial killer. Even like, for example, when I interviewed Sammy the Bull or Terrence Gangster Williams, and I've asked them, do they consider themselves serial killers? They're like, nah, I wouldn't say that. Like, they wouldn't, even though Sammy killed like 14 people, he would not take the title of serial killer himself, although by the definition you just said that the FBI lays out, he's a serial killer.
Let me tell you why I think Von's a serial killer. Now, I might not say so.
And Vlad pointed something out that was real. You got people that's really proven to be these type of guys. You got people saying they are these type of killers, and you got people doing time for it, like Sammy The Bull and them, Terrence Williams, and these people got multiple bodies, right? From what they say and what they went to jail for, and they say it's all true. So why don't you go down the path of speaking on those type of topics? You know what I'm saying? I mean, those type of individuals. It's like what everybody be saying. It might not be enough of clout to go around to be with that. So he chooses to play with something else.
The Bull's a serial killer. The reason that I felt Von was a serial,
although by the definition you just said that the FBI lays out, he's a serial killer.
Let me tell you why I think Von's a serial killer. Now, I might not say Sammy the Bull's a serial killer. The reason that I felt Von was a serial killer, because I've come across people that have killed a lot of people in gang wars before. I did the video about No Limit, G Herbo's crew. There's a guy called Mad Max that, they say he had 9 or 10 bodies, right? But I think, for me, where I felt he became a serial killer was you got these multiple murders. There's more than 3 murders, and they're more than a month apart. Some of them are years apart. It was really like, when he became famous, the personal gratification that he seemed to get out of killing, I would say he was responsible for the murder of FBG Duck in a way that he felt responsible. He tweeted a goat emoji like minutes after Duck was killed. He got a lot of personal gratification out of these killings. I think he wanted to continue these killings, and he wanted the whole world to know. I wish I'd have thought of this when I made the documentary. I've only thought of it after, but I feel like Von, he's the closest I could describe him to a traditional serial killer is the Zodiac Killer. Because Von killed all these people, he became famous, he wanted everyone to know that he killed all these people. You ain't a killer if you only got 2 bodies. Like, talk about bodies, I got a few, 4 plus 3, 3 plus 2. Like, Von wanted the whole world to know that he was killing. He was putting out these codes. He was getting this personal gratification from killing, and he still wanted to kill. He wanted to have Duck killed. He wanted to have Man killed. There was a supposed rumored body in Atlanta. Now, I kind of disproved that in the video, but it's like, he wanted people to know he was a killer. I think he was more interested in getting people killed than rapping, and I think it's that element. Like, Sammy the Bull was killing for just business.
It's a difference between wanting people to know that you are a killer. Because if you want people to know that you are a killer, you can definitely do something in real physical form to where it can be undisputed. And I think it's a difference between wanting people to believe that you are a killer. You know what I'm saying? Making a person believe something about you in the entertainment world can definitely get you far. In any situation, whether it's podcast, YouTube, being a TikToker or something, whatever. Like, whatever image you put out there and you make people believe it, it can help you in so many ways. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you got to know the difference between that. I don't think he just was trying to get everybody to know that he was a killer, because you could definitely go to jail if you prove it to a strong degree, to a strong degree. You end up in jail if you are actually committing these crimes and these killings that you are saying you are a part of. So I feel like, we gotta just be a little bit more wiser about how we comprehend certain stuff and our viewing point and how we deliver certain stuff.
And he ain't still trying to kill people right now. And he ain't hinting towards in a video, but it's like he wanted people to know he was a killer. I think he was more interested in getting people killed than rapping. And I think it's that element. Like Sammy the Bull was killing for just business, and he ain't still trying to kill people right now. And he ain't hinting towards in his interviews, there's bodies you don't know about, and I want you to know about them. I feel like the way Von carried himself, the way that he communicated these murders.
Listen, when you take those deals and stuff like that, like Sammy the Bull, you got to sit down and you got to disclose all kind of information with the law enforcement. If you leave a piece out, they could, rip up that deal agreement y'all done made, and they'd slap a new charge on you. They'd do anything. So you got to be honest about all these things, right? So Sammy the Bull situation is very much different than King Von's. Also, Sammy the Bull is way elderly. He's way older than King Von. You know what I'm saying? He done really paid a price when it comes to doing time. I want to say Sammy the Bull done like 15 years or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's somewhere around there. And again, if he get to hitting out like, oh, people never know this or never know this, and I got stuff that I didn't disclose, then all he's gonna do is start having the law enforcement knocking on his door. You know what I'm saying? And he's very much probably too old to be wanting to deal with those type of situations. So I think you can't really compare like that with that situation.
This to the public through his music, and he got chopped towards in his interviews, there's bodies you don't know about, and I want you to know about them. I feel like the way Von carried himself, the way that he communicated these murders to the public through his music, and he got charged up off of that. I think these are the elements that make him like a serial killer, like the Zodiac killer, sending these letters out to try and get in some excitement, like wanting to be caught. And I think these are the elements that, just to me, that made me feel like he ticked those requirements to the max. And if he'd have never started rapping and started teasing the world, trying to let everyone know that he killed these people, I wouldn't say he's a serial killer. I would, you'd say he's a gang assassin, he's a hitman, he's a gangbanger. But it was the way that he got so much gratification out of letting the world know. And we can get into it in a minute. But there's kind of just it's more like the way that he got so much out of being a killer and having everyone know he was a killer. And realistically, bro, that's why everyone was into Von. Like, people want to rewrite history now and have a go at me, like, oh, Trap Lord Ross, you're capping. Von wasn't really like that. If Von was alive and you said you ain't really like that, you got no bodies, he'd slap you.
And I hate when Trap Lord Ross be saying that, because he personally do not know King Von. So you really don't know how he would react. You ain't been set. You haven't sat in the living room with him. You haven't sat on the block with him. You haven't sat in the car with him to really know who Von is personally. You don't know if people joke with him all the time or be serious about it. You just never know. And I'm not saying this to disrespect King Von. I'm just pointing these things out. Like, we don't know. So how can you say what a person will do if we never, ever, ever experienced a personal behavior ever in life? And it's not about everybody loving King Von because he's the killer. If that was the case, we'd look up to a lot of people that face come across the news, you know what I mean, every day for caught up for killing somebody. It's because he was an interesting person. He had a great background story. He overcame a lot. He was very talented. He was very skillful. And, we loved the way he did with his thing when it come to rapping. You know what I'm saying? And he also was a person with personality. So people was tuning in with King Von for all these things. But for you to just say like people is just tuning in with him just because he's this so-called killer and he would slap somebody and stuff like this, if somebody called him a not killer to his face. I mean, you never know because you just don't know a person. But y'all let me know what y'all think, Dice Crew. Let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments. And shout out to Vlad for definitely just not jumping on that bandwagon and just, coattailing Trap Lord Ross. And shout out to King Von and everybody that care about him. Shout out to the Dice Crew. Shout out to the sponsors. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video. I'm out.